Hello, and welcome to Check Out This Guy, the podcast where everyone here today has cats and loves cats. I'm Izzy. Pronouns are she or he, and we have another host.
What's up? I'm Emery. My pronouns are they, she, he. And we have a guest today.
Hello, I'm Adam. I go by AMAC on the internet, and my pronouns are going to be he, him.
Cool. And Adam, am I getting this correct? Do you also like cats and enjoy them? Because that is a requirement for this podcast,
absolutely.
apparently.
I have a cat in my lap right now. Mina, my darling.
Alright, good, because otherwise this would be a very short episode.
I have two others. I have Lucy and I have Vlad. They're all named after Dracula characters.
Hell yeah.
They are my precious darlings.
Alright, so besides cats, what are we talking about today? What guys have you brought us?
Well, coincidentally, we're also talking about cats. So I have a family of horrible OCs that I shove into settings. I've recently found a new home for them. I'll get into the setting and stuff later, but I have always been drawn to these kind of big family drama shows that are kind of Shakespearean or comedies, so Succession to Arrested Development, that kind of dynamic,
God, speaking of family dramas, maybe before we get into the OCs, why don't you talk about the project you're currently here to plug?
The Disappearance of Lydia Fountayne.
Yes. I've never heard of it before.
Never heard of it? Yeah, I am.
Sounds fake.
I play Miles Fontaine in The Disappearance of Lydia Fountayne. He's a very trustworthy uncle. We're launching a Kickstarter for it on the 20th of May. And outside of that, you can listen to it at the moment at lydiadisappears.com.
Yeah. And I really like your performance. You make the man very slimy. It's good.
Cool. I specialize in slimy men.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we might talk about that a little bit more in the plug part of the podcast, but just wanted to get it out there because it's a very big and very cool project, and we want you to go to that Kickstarter on the 20th.
Go do it.
Keep your ears peeled and your eyes open.
That's right. So now let's talk about the other family trauma we're here to discuss of your little cat OCs.
Yes. So the primary one I want to talk about, and I'll post a picture for the benefit of both of you, into voice chat text, I guess. So we're here in voice chat.
That'll be fun.
And some names to help.
Yeah, or you could do guest channel, either one.
Didn't see that. Okay. Anywho, but yes, so I have, a OC, called Laura Valka. He is a cat person, tails and an ear. And they're purple cat people. He dresses very finely, very nicely, and you might assume that upon meeting him, he is while somewhat meek and nervous individual, that he is a good person and absolutely harmless. You would be sorely mistaken. He has already stolen your wallet and ran away with it.
Let's go.
He is a con man. He is a trickster. He is a snake oil salesman. He comes from a pharmaceutical dynasty family. So, good people who are not out to rob you. But he is the youngest son of 4 sons in a matriarchal family. The father is not in the picture and hasn't been for some time.
I really love this illustration, by the way. You can the characters are giving a lot of personality.
Thank you. I need to finish it. I've been meaning to paint it for some time. But Laura's the one there on the left with the mushroom haircut and the very thick glasses that you can't see through, and the nervous sweat.
Yes.
So, oftentimes, I introduce him into tabletop role-playing campaigns and games and stuff, but I've written some short stories with him as well. And always, I wouldn't say he's a evil character. He would be like a villain in like a children's cartoon. Because he's also fairly incompetent and not good at what he does. He can talk a good game, but usually something always goes wrong, and he's always foiled by his own greed or avarice or self-confidence, which while he has a very big ego, it is incredibly fragile and like shatters on a dime.
A classic fumbler.
Very much the comedic relief of anything that is a serious plot or story that I shove him into. And I love him dearly. I love him quite a bit.
We love a guy who sucks here on this podcast.
Also,
you can't get enough of it.
Yeah. Also, like when you said cat family, I wasn't sure if cat people or literal cats. And I gotta say, I love a cat people.
They are a family of cat people. Yes. So to expand on that a little bit before I get into things, I have a bullet pointed list here that I'm going down.
Let's go.
I didn't go so far as to make notes, but I made some bullet points to kind of give me a little bit of structure and flow.
We have yet to have any guest come on and give us a whole PowerPoint presentation, but this is feeling close to that.
Oh, God.
If you wanted me to make one, I could.
This sounds hilarious. I want it to happen.
So yeah, Laura Valka, his name's spelt Lora, and Valka being spelt Valka. Of the Valka family, hailing from this company, this pharmaceutical dynasty that oversees Valka Pharmaceuticals. 9 lives of reliability is their slogan. They exist in this setting called Ashlands, which is a TTRPG that two friends of mine developed and homebrewed over the course of like a year. You can find it on DriveThruRPG if you want to look into it. It's a cyberpunk setting, but kind of like 90s cyberpunk, not super futuristic. In between period of like cassette futurism and just growing out of it. And in this setting, you have like devilkin, who are kind of akin to tieflings. You have chimeras, which are humans who are hybrid animals, and various sorts of different chimeras. So you have like dog chimeras, cow chimeras, all sorts. And the Valka family are a family of cat chimeras. And you also have androids that are sentient androids who have been kind of elevated to the rights of a normal walking around person because they are sentient. You know, other than that, it's what you would expect from a cyberpunk setting without getting into the nitty-gritty of the setting, in that it's a horrible place to live, generally speaking. You would there's a lot of big corporate powers that have a lot of pull. It went through this period of time that I believe was called the corporate hegemony, where you literally had an oligarchy of CEOs who were writing the laws and running the government. It's now no longer
my favorite things.
It's now no longer like that. Like, they have a proper government now that's trying to claw back some of its power from that era. But the companies are still big, they have a lot of pull, and the main thing you do in this setting is you play mercenaries. So, only one guy in this family is involved with, like, the main conceit of that TTRPG. The rest of them exist mostly just to cause problems in the setting. in some way or shape or form.
Hell yeah. So kind of like, the way you're describing it doesn't sound like villains, but like problem causers.
They could be villains in the right story, depending on who, for sure, absolutely. I would say the only one that couldn't be a villain would be Laura, just because it'd be hard to take him seriously because he's so incompetent. The rest are very good at what they do, and put in the right position could absolutely perform as a villain for a story. I'll touch on the other members of the Valka family for sure in the future, as we go through this. So you will learn all about them. But setting-wise, chimeras were, during the corporate hegemony, the really bad period for the setting, where the companies were just deciding and doing everything. Chimeras came from that era. They were kind of invented by a company called Fortune Biosolutions. They do a lot of medicine stuff and medical adjacent things, and they wanted to do human-animal hybrids to get around labor laws, effectively, is the reason why they wanted to do that.
Oh boy.
When the proper government came in and kind of rectified that, they did away with that. And now, along with, like, androids in the setting who became sentient, they have the full rights of everyone else in the setting.
I love making up an entirely new species just so I can take
to get
away
around
their
labor
rights.
laws. Yeah.
Yeah.
Izzy, you sound kind of loud. Are you, like, closer to your microphone than usual?
Maybe. I can back off.
Yeah, I think backing off a little would be good.
Okay.
So
sorry, continue.
No, it's fine. So the setting of Newland City is this big city with these big areas that are almost comparable to like New England-sized states. And each of them have like kind of different local laws and stuff. And like I said, it's a very much it's a very cutthroat city in certain places. Very dangerous. Pretty run of the mill for what you would expect from a cyberpunk setting, though. So I don't want to focus on that too much. But amongst this city, Laura Valka kind of works, passing himself off most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, as a doctor for hire, basically a back alley doctor. Now, he does not have a doctorate. He dropped out of med school. He couldn't cut it. His grades were really bad. But that doesn't stop him from insisting on people calling him doctor, and on him attempting to give medical care to people who can't exactly go to a hospital or can afford a proper doctor for whatever reason. And on top of this, he will have usually other scams or tricks going on. He will pretend to be part of the MCA, which is a group called the Mercenary Contractor Association. He'll steal credentials from one of his brothers who's in it and pretend to be part of it in order to kind of make a quick buck on an easy job where he just has to provide medical care to the team after they get back and done. He will, he pretty much completely operates off of expired medicine and expired goods.
Oh boy.
Secondhand that he usually steals from one of his brothers who works at a hospital as a surgeon. Lot of not great stuff, but you know, if you're in a pinch and you need medical service, you could see it as a positive thing, you know, getting it discounted. You know, it beats nothing. He is, like I said, very, very getting the upper head, like the upper hand, very, very Sigma grind set, kinda, like always chasing the dollar, always like chasing money. And he's very insecure, and so it's kind of obvious that he's doing this to kind of feel successful, feel like he's done something, because he is in a family of rather successful brothers who kind of all outshine him, and so this means of backstabbing and trickery that he gets up to, it's all to kind of to look successful, and in looking successful, feel more accepted when compared to his 3 very successful brothers. And this complex he has is, it's not helped by any of his brothers. They're definitely not helping the case. But it largely comes from a very overbearing mother who is, Laura Valka. Very similar names. I'm sorry. Her name is spelled Laura. She is the matriarch and founder of Valka Pharmaceuticals. She's a very cutthroat businesswoman who, has made some very underhanded deals to get to where she's at, kind of success at any cost. The father, like I said, is not in the picture, but I'll cover him slightly. He's important to some degree for the motivation of some of the other family members here. His name is Simon Lysander. He is he presents himself as a veteran of this foreign war that's going on called Souther Bay, and he presents himself as a combat medic who's, done crazy, daring surgeries in the middle of very deadly combat, and is a decorated war hero, is what he will tell anyone who asks him incessantly about it. He is lying through his teeth. He has never seen combat. He a complete stolen valor. He himself is a complete and utter con man.
Incredible.
Right.
We love a guy who just makes some stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the father of the family.
H-Bomber guy is gonna make like a 5-hour video taking this guy down.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, he's a bit of a better con man than our Laura Valka, for sure. He's actually pulled off some pretty big scams, and is fairly successful at it. And for whatever reason, Laura, the mother of the family, and Simon got together and had 2 kids before she found out that he was lying about everything, and she kicked him out. These first 2 kids are the eldest 2 of the Valka brothers. The eldest Valka brother's in his mid-30s. His name is Aston Valka. Big guy, very strong. Cat man. I would not call him a cat boy by any regards. He is a cat man.
Yeah, he looks to be like a full 1.5 feet taller than Laura over there.
Yeah, and as wide as the rest of them combined.
Combined, yes. All the testosterone went directly into this child. None left over for the rest.
Lucky them.
So, Aston, the eldest of the Valka brothers, like I said, he's in his mid-30s. So he grows up with a little bit of influence from dad, as does the other eldest one we'll get to in a moment, Tomas. So they kind of get raised on stories from dad that are complete and utter bullshit, Dad's telling these war stories to his sons that are not true, just not true stories whatsoever. By the way, I just said bullshit. Can I curse? Do you mind?
As much as you fucking want.
Gotcha. I know some people care and don't want that explicit tag, and I forgot to ask.
No worries.
Anyways, Aston and Tomas, the eldest 2, they grew up on just the absolute bullshit that Dad was throwing around about him being a combat surgeon and a combat medic of explicit renown and ridiculous degrees of success and reward. And they grew up believing it, because why would you believe your dad's lying to you when you're fucking 10? There's no reason why you would just inherently believe that until you got a bit older. But he wasn't around when they got older, and so they just kind of grew up believing it.
What else are you gonna do?
Aston took the war hero part to heart. and, very much went in that direction of wanting to be a combat medic war hero. He wanted to go off and fight in this fucking forever war that Newland's doing called Souther Bay. It was the same war his dad claimed to have fought in. But the matriarch of the family, Laura, she would not let her son go and do that. She did not want him to go out and fight in a war. And so she instead recommended that she be one of the corporate troops of the Valka Pharmaceuticals company, because we are still in the setting where a corporation has a small army, because in a cyberpunk setting, they have small armies because they do horrible things and they fight each other in almost open war at times. Aston agreed to this for a while, but didn't quite take to taking orders too well, and decided to instead eventually branch out and become a merc, or a mercenary contractor, and take on jobs for hire across Newland City. And these can be sometimes these are companies who don't want to leave their fingerprints on stuff. And other times, this is save a cat from a tree levels of mundanity. Not always, but they do have jobs that are rather mundane. The tutorial job of the setting is there is a porn actor who is leaving porn, does not want to have porn out there of him, and is hiring you to collect the stored VHS copies of his porn and destroy them. Obviously, the company that filmed and produced the porn does not want that to happen, and so, that's kind of the low-level jobs you can kind of expect in this setting.
Yeah, I think if this family ever did get good publicity from saving a cat in a tree, just you look into it more and, Laura just got stuck up there.
Laura got stuck up there, and then Aston had to help him down, yeah.
And they spun it into a PR story.
Would not surprise me. Would not surprise me one bit. So, Aston becomes quite successful in the MCA. He'll often take jobs specifically that targets other pharmaceutical companies that are not his family's pharmaceutical company, so he's effectively doing off-the-books corporate warfare and getting paid for it by third parties. And he's rather good at it. He's like I said, he takes up being a combat medic. He runs around with a light machine gun and, carries guys out of the firefight with over his shoulder and stuff.
These other three look like if you handed them a machine gun, they'd just fall over.
Yes. Yeah, they all would. They are not cut out for this whatsoever. But Aston has he has a bit of a name for himself. He has a little bit of rapport with that company and stuff, the MCA, and so he's a little bit well known as far as mercs go in the city. The second eldest, though, Tomas Valka. Tomas, he took the opposite side of Dad's story to heart. So instead of wanting to become a combat medic, he wanted to become the best surgeon that has ever lived. Are y'all familiar with the anime Blackjack? It's an older anime.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
okay.
I know it exists.
It's one of those Osamu Tezuka joints.
Yes. So Tomas is very much inspired by the character Blackjack. Like I said, he is the best surgeon in Newland, and part of what kind of kept him going, what his whole deal is, instead of Aston's very much repressed "make daddy proud," Tomas's version of that, his flavor of that, is chasing the adrenaline of performing surgery.
Oh boy!
This sounds rancid. I love it.
He's not that bad. But he starts, because he becomes such a prolific surgeon, he starts losing that edge, that adrenaline rush, and he becomes less and less interested in performing mundane surgeries. Well, the good news for him is in a city like Newland and in a setting like that, there's a lot of demand for illegal surgeries or surgeries done for criminals who can't go to a proper hospital or doctor. And so Tomas has decided on the back end, in his off hours, to moonlight as an illegal criminal surgeon. So a surgeon for criminals.
Let's go.
And he's quite theatric. So back when him and his brother were younger, and the other two had just been born, so they were like in their young teens, late teens, and the other two were like very small kids. And Dad was in the picture, so Aston had to kind of raise the youngest two. Kind of like an older brother standing in as dad. And oftentimes they would play, but because Tomas was very much focused on his studies, he kind of avoided getting engaged into play. Saw it as childish, that his older brother Aston was humoring these kids by, throwing them across the room and pretending to sword fight with them or whatever. So Aston, as a full-grown adult and one of the best surgeons in Newland City, operating as a criminal surgeon, will wear a dramatic cape, will wear a half mask, and so he is the Phantom of the operating theater at night with with his trusty sidekick and chauffeur. So a bit of a Green Hornet vibe thing going on here, but with surgery instead of just beating up, random criminals or something.
This is incredible.
Yes.
He has a lot of things going on, but he had a lot of things he wanted to play as a kid and never got to. And so now he's playing as an adult, and it's very dangerous, actually.
I love this asshole.
Tomas is very competent, though. He is, he might be the most competent of the Valkas, at least put together and professional, which is why I decided to undercut him with, like, this very silly alter ego of him going out at night with his chauffeur to, perform surgeries and get wrapped into hijinks where he has to, run from the authorities or run from mercenaries, etc., etc. And that's basically his whole deal. Like I said, he's not that bad. Underlying motivation's a little messed up, because like I said, he's just chasing an adrenaline high. He kind of doesn't care about being a good doctor. And so it could put him into some very not good positions, for sure. Definitely a morally gray character. This whole family really is morally gray, if not outright evil. I would say the mom is leaning evil, for sure.
Yeah.
There is a big space of time in which the dad went off to fight in Southern Bay again. He was not fighting in Southern Bay again. And at that point, like, the matriarch, Laura, she kind of knew that who she hooked up with, Simon, was bullshitting her and had kind of also told him to fuck off. She is not a good people person. She's very cold. She's very isolated. She's kind of done that to herself. And so while she thinks she can get along without him for a bit, she has very difficult time finding someone else to kind of pair up with. And so eventually, after a period of about a decade, when Simon kind of tries to weasel himself back in the picture, she kind of lets him do it. And this is how we get the younger two Valkas. And this is why the older two kind of know things about their dad as well. Because he was around for a little bit more before piecing out once the mother had enough of him for the final time and kicked him out. So, of the younger two Valka brothers, we have Lee Valka. Lee Valka is a pretty boy, to put it slightly. He is diva. He is very arrogant and full of himself, but luckily for him, he can kind of pull it off. He's gotten a company job with Valka Pharmaceuticals. So the other two brothers do not work for the company. They are just children who come from this company dynasty, kind of. Aston, like I said, is private mercenary. Tomas, private doctor, surgeon. Lee is the only one that works for Valka Pharmaceuticals. He is the head of public relations.
Ooh.
Nice.
He often puts himself as the face of the Valka company. Then the Valka Pharmaceutical Company, to get kind of a little bit more into detail with that now that I'm talking about him more, they make medicine and medical equipment is what they specialize in, primarily like medicine. And their angle is they cater specifically to chimeras and the health concerns that come from being a hybrid human, animal, which are occasionally unique concerns. You can imagine. The company Fortune Biosolutions probably did not give a shit if like all of the fucking cat chimeras were like anemic or whatever,
Yeah. I assume it would be hard to like insert like a whole chunk of DNA into someone without a few problems popping up.
No, if they were that good about it, they would just like make them addicted to cocaine or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like push an extreme, and like really gene alter, and to harp on the other company, the company that made the chimeras, what they're doing now, Fortune Biosolutions, is medicine. That's their primary thing, is medicine and healthcare stuff. And so in competition with them is Valka Pharmaceuticals, a company founded, created, and ran by cat chimeras. They're a little sore about that when it comes to the corporate war, and Valka Pharmaceuticals definitely treats them as a rival company. The feeling is very much mutual. And as I said, Lee Valka, the second of the youngest, is head of PR. Lee is very good at his job. Now, the younger two Valkas, since they don't know Dad, they don't really have, like, weird daddy issues. They have the absence of Dad issues. I'm trying to think of how to put this.
Oh boy.
Lee has what you would call classic daddy issues.
Oh boy.
And sometimes, when fundraising and talking with these CEOs who tend to be older men, sometimes there's more than one way to skin a cat. That's so. And I don't know if I want to go into detail beyond that.
So he's sleeping his way to the top, basically.
Yeah. And it's, again, I like these very kind of toxic family drama shows, and these tropes of toxic family things that are all like, they all kind of stem from the Plantagenets of Shakespeare and like his histories, the plays kind of focusing all around like Henry VI and Richard III, etc., etc. But also like more modern contemporary examples being like Secession or fucking Arrested Development, things like that. More funny ones would be like Arrested Development, and so I would say Arrested Development would be more of a good comparison to the Valka family here, because I do often play up the comedy angles of them, but they are quite fucked up if you took them in a serious capacity.
Yeah. No, you don't go around in a mask and cape, removing bullets from people without
Because you're a well-adjusted person, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, there goes my dream.
Lee, he has methods of getting investors behind him in more ways than one.
Hey.
Where this gets super icky and not great is there is an unspoken agreement between him and his mom, who's still the CEO. She knows he does it. He knows she knows. They don't talk about it. And so, obviously a lot of things to unpack there. That's very uncomfortable and toxic and ripe for exploding. And I really like having very uncomfortable moments potentially related to said drama in certain TTRPGs when I'm role-playing some of these characters and having, Lee go out of his way to hide certain conduct and then have it not be a big deal and that be the shocker, that be the rug pull. Because, Mom knows. She's just not asking questions.
And why would you? The money's coming in.
The money's coming in, the company's working, and that's all she cares about. And that's mostly Lee. Lee is very condescending to all of his brothers, the elder ones, and and Laura, who is the youngest. And then I guess that just leaves us back at Laura, who, like I said, is a con man. He went to med school to try to become a doctor. It's the family business, don't you know? He did not make it through med school. And compared to his rather successful brothers, who are all either succeeding in mom's eyes or succeeding in what they conceptualize as the vision that their father had for them, Laura kind of fails in both capacity. He's not, he can't be a strong combat medic. He is not a good doctor or a surgeon. I guess he talks good, like Lee does. He can talk a good game. He's very charismatic, but he can never close. He always fucks up in some way, shape, or form.
He's like the classic Failson.
He is absolutely the classic Failson, and he, like I said, he kind of works on 3 different tiers in terms of motivation. He's the one I roleplay the most, because he's just fun and easy to roleplay. The most outwardly stated motivation, like if you got him to sit down and asked him what his goal was and had him be honest with you, he would say that it would be money. He just wants to make money. In a deeper level, a level that's conscious to him, but he wouldn't openly state it. He's chasing success in the eyes of his brothers or his mother. Probably mostly mom, but he probably could not resist the urge if he got a major success to rub it in the face of his brothers either. And so he would say success is a motivator if you kind of talked with him even longer than that. And then the deepest motivation for him, the subconscious motivation, is literally just feeling love or acceptance in any way, shape, or form. Because he got fucking none of that from either his brothers or his mom.
When you're the youngest of 4, sometimes it'd be that way.
Sometimes you just run out of the small amount of love your heart held, So sometimes you're at capacity. In terms of his relations to his brothers, with Aston, Laura is nervous. He kind of has this... Because Aston had a stand-in as dad, he has this very unhealthy, bullying older brother attitude toward him. Because he is the fuck-up, and so he had to step in a few times and be the authority figure, but because he's also an older brother and wasn't that mature himself at the time, it just kind of is a weird form of bullying in a way. And so it's not exactly a great relationship with the eldest brother, Aston. Like I said, Lee is closest to him in age, only separated by a few years, and Lee is far more successful, but has succeeded on mom's terms because he wants to succeed on mom's terms for the most part. And he doesn't fuck up as much. And Lee rubs that in Laura's face all the fucking time, incessantly. So they have a very, very strenuous relationship at best. I would hesitate to say that they hate each other. But it's probably as close as it gets to hate and could be pushed to that if things were made significantly worse for the family as a whole. If the tension was increased, if the water was brought to a slow boil on the family, that would probably be a relationship that would snap apart very quickly, very immediately, because they're already on the brink of despising each other. And then he has the best relationship with Tomas, because Tomas wishes he could tell mom to go fuck herself, but won't, because it's the smart thing to do is to not tell mom to fuck off. But Laura has reached the point, because he is the fuck up and has no hope of succeeding in a lot of ways, in his own eyes. I think he has a hope for succeeding. I like believing in my boy a little bit. But because in his own eyes he sees himself as a kind of a lost cause in a lot of ways, he'll stand up to mom and tell mom to fuck off. And he's the only one of the brothers that will do that. And Tomas likes that. He respects that a little bit. And so while Tomas is a little cold and he didn't need to be in like a parenting role or like a parental role, a stand-in parental role as an older brother or anything like that, and overall the family is mostly cold to one another, at least as far as you would expect from a family of four, he regards Laura with some degree of respect. And that's kind of the relationship with the brothers. And that's kind of their working dynamic. Some small tidbits that I can touch on before is the family logo. I kind of went out of my way to design a logo for the family. Let me see if I can find it.
Nice.
I know for audio medium, it's not the best to just say, look at this picture.
Well, now you gotta describe it.
Yeah, but I put a lot of work into.
This is good.
Oh, this is really good.
Designing this corporate logo. So for those of you listening, which is everyone, because there's no visuals here, it is like a tulip, but the head of the tulip is also a cat head.
Yeah, I noticed that. I really like that.
The cat family, not all chimeras are like purple haired, but the Valka family is they all have purple hair, purple tails, purple ears. So the tulip is a purple tulip, and the Valka family color is like this light green, and so that's very prominent in the leaves of the tulip as well. Like I said, the slogan for the family is 9 lifetimes of quality, which I'm pretty proud of. But there is actually a few smaller levels of this, too. Did you know that tulips are poisonous to cats?
Yes.
Oh, I did not.
So there's a little bit of a layer there that it's, a little bit of a malicious, company. Definitely not as beneficial as they like to present themselves, even though it is a very it's a very friendly, warm, modern kind of corporate logo that you could expect.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
And in that family portrait, I worked in green in all of their kind of outfits, so they'll have either a green bow tie or a green tie, a green suit, things like that. So I tried to remain consistent on the aspects of their various appearances and kind of keeping them looking like a singular unit in this family portrait that I've made as well. Mm-hmm. I also kind of took visual aspects from each of the brothers and put them into Mom when designing Mom. Mm-hmm. And so, like, Lee has Mom's devious smile. Mm-hmm. Tomas has her eyes. Aston has kind of the wavier hair. The only one that shares the bad eyesight with Mom is Laura, the youngest son. What else is there? I think that's it visually that I kind of was messing around with.
Yeah, Laura also has like similar ears and the one earring.
Oh yeah, the earrings. Yes. Another fun thing to point out is the eldest two brothers, who are kind of calling the shots in the family for the most part. Like they're the I wouldn't call them patriarchs, but they're closest to it because they're the only ones around. They're both trying to live in the fill in Dad's shoes in different ways. Heroic combat medic, well decorated surgeon. So they're both trying to chase that in different ways. But everything about Dad was a lie, and Dad in truth was a con man. And so the the child that is living most up to Dad's image is actually the failed child.
The true inheritor.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah.
Who has never even met his father. And
Wonderful.
and is just accidentally the spitting image of Dad. Which is probably why Mom doesn't like him.
Aww.
Yeah. He's very, very unfortunate for a few different reasons. I will often play Valka when I am playing Valka, and I do a voice for him. I do a very nasally voice, like, how's it doing? How's it going, guys? Nice to meet you. Laura Valka. So, like, a very chipper, nervous kind of voice that I do for him. And when I roleplay him, I make a point of him always referring to his mom as mother. And I've been told that everything you need to know about the relationship between him and his mom can be condensed in how I say mother with that tone. A slightly annoyed, ireful tone, but completely powerless at the same time.
Very good.
I'm trying to think of anything else. I'm out of my main notes here, though I do think we're closing close to the amount of time that you specified.
Yeah, we're closing in on the hour.
I did have something that occurred to me, but then it completely left my mind. Oh, yes. So, when role-playing Laura Valka, I often will make him, pathetic character, and things blowing up in his face often compels other characters and other people I'm role-playing with to take the approach of, poor little meow meow. Let me help you out. And I always take that aid that they give him, that little bit of help, and I run with it, take it way farther than needed, and spit it back in their face pretty much. So if you show him any degree of mercy, he takes it, he runs with it, and he takes advantage of it. And so while you can feel bad for him, and he certainly has it the worst of the family, not to be trusted with mercy or pity.
Yeah.
He will totally take advantage of it, no matter how sad and pathetic and much of a wet blanket he seems to be.
You can't hit a guy with glasses on his birthday, is the energy this guy is giving me.
Oh god, yes.
The epitome of I'm just a little guy. It was
It's his birthday every day.
It is his birthday every day. Alright, I do think I'm done if you want to do your plug segment of the show.
Yeah, thank you very much for this. I very much enjoyed it. I love/hate these little fuckers.
Yeah.
That is the energy that I want from each of them, honestly. It's how I feel about them myself. I love and hate every single one of these horrible bastards. So I'm glad it has the intended effect.
So why don't you go ahead and plug your other show then?
Like I said, I go by AMAC on the internet. You can find me on Twitter, or X, if you want to call it that, at @A_Mac_0079, and I am the GM of Fetty Scum. Fetty Scum is a Gundam TTRPG roleplay, actual play podcast, finely edited and polished with music and sound effects. It has a lot of crude humor and a lot of in-jokes.
Hey, you know the life-size moving Gundam statue?
Yes, the one they recently took apart, sadly.
Yeah, it's standing there without its armor, completely naked. They're calling it the new Type Flash.
Wow.
That's actually really good.
Thank you.
I didn't know what to expect.
Izzy pitched us a Gundam. Izzy promised us a Gundam joke before we started recording, so it's just been kind of looming over us this whole time.
Yes.
It's way better than I expected. Way better than I expected. It was really good.
Thank you.
But yeah, if you want a Gundam role-playing or actual play podcast, like in the vein of like The Adventure Zone, less so Critical Role. So it's not like a 4-hour recording. The episodes are like an hour. We keep them trimmed down. We edit out the bathroom breaks. Fetty Scum will be right up your alley. And we have been very blessed to have a few unfortunate souls listen to us without knowing Gundam and be their introduction to the Gundam setting, and as a result, they went and watched Gundam. So I'm very thankful that they went and watched Gundam, but I'm also very horrified that we were their introduction to Gundam. All right, that's all I have to pitch at the moment.
Hell yeah.
Our other show, Stress Test, is on hiatus, but it's a variety roleplay show.
Okay. Amy, go ahead.
Alright, so I'm on another podcast called We Rate Queerbait. It's the show where we do the thing from the title. We explore the blurry line between homie and homo, and talk about all sorts of queer-coded stuff in media. Next up, we're recording an episode on Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, so I'm gonna...
I'm so sorry.
Dream Drop Distance, everyone is saying that it's a great entry point into the franchise. So it's great that we're covering only that on our podcast.
I love the premise of that podcast, by the way.
Thank you.
I consume an unhealthy amount of BL and yaoi, and so, yeah, sounds like my show.
Good, we love it. No, it's a very fun show. I always have a great time recording it. I think we're all very funny on it. Let's see, we've done some pretty good episodes. We did do one on Succession, speaking of.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Let's see, the two of my absolute favorites were Sonic X and Digimon Universe App Monsters, because those are just simply very good shows, and
I was on the latter.
Yeah, both of them were guest episodes. Yeah, it's a very good time. We did Lord of the Rings, like, across 3 episodes, the whole dang trilogy. Extremely good stuff. We did Cars 2, which nearly killed me.
Dear God. If you have a guest slot open, I'm more than willing to pop on and talk about something.
Hell yeah, we would love to get you on.
Cool.
Unfortunately, the recording schedule on that show is kind of wild right now. So
Understood.
It's one of these months, you know.
Just shoot me a DM.
Yeah, will do. I'll keep you in mind.
Just like if I get to pick what it is, just give me like 3 days of prep to make a PowerPoint.
Oh yeah, no, it would be guest's choice for sure.
Oh, awesome. Cool.
And, so, what the hell else do I do? I also have
Have you done an episode on Gundam yet?
We have not.
Okay. Well, I say, rubbing my hands together.
I've heard about this boy named Amuro and his good friend Char Aznavour. Friend in heavy quotation marks.
That's one of them. That one really picks up in Zeta and Char's counterattack. The 0079 ship and the big ship of Gundam, at least back then, that kicked it all off was Char and Garma.
Char and Garma.
That's my pure fucking poison, right into the vein, baby. Ooh.
The circumstances of your birth.
Yes.
Blame this on the misfortune of your birth.
Oh, good shit. So, yeah, then I also have a for affinity with the username Space Robot. I draw art there. I haven't posted any in a while, but I'm working on something now. I did art for the first time in a few weeks, and it's going. I'm also on an upcoming audio drama pilot with a Kickstarter that's happening on May 20th. It's called The Disappearances of Lydia Fountayne. Maybe you've heard of it.
I haven't, never heard of it.
First I've heard, yeah.
And it's kind of like a family drama over some inheritance. It's got some technological aspects. It's got some supernatural aspects, and it's got this well-rounded cast of plucky protagonists and scheming family members, and for some reason just like a fucking talking crow. That's me. That's who I play. They are sort of enigmatic and mischievous, and I don't know too much about them. I know probably more than most other people about them, but I want to know more. I want to learn more about this little fucker, so help fund this project so we can make more episodes, and I can get paid to make funny noises with my mouth.
Same. I also enjoy money.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Go ahead, Izzy.
All right. I have nothing to plug. So, look in the show notes. There is a Discord there. Come join this Discord. We normally do streams at least on Mondays and Fridays. What's on Monday? What's on Friday? It's a mystery to me right now.
Figuring it out. We used to do art streams on Fridays, but then I got a full-time job, and doing art every week has become impossible.
Yeah, lately I've been subjecting people to horrible movies. Yeah, last time we watched Hackers.
Oh,
it sure was a fucking movie.
Uh-huh.
Not the most accurate.
No. That's probably the worst movie I'll ever show. It's bad, but I have a lot of nostalgia for it. We've also watched Demolition Man and Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, which none of us had seen.
God, do we have to do the Moonwalker challenge? It is getting...
No.
Do you have a few... No, okay.
No, Devin has to do the Moonwalker challenge.
Okay, yeah. It's something... It's a punishment, honestly.
Yes. That's why Devin's gonna do it.
That's right.
So yeah, despite everything I've just said, I'm going to insist that the Discord is fun and you should check it out and come hang with us.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah. Also, check out this guy, has some social medias. I don't, but the show does. So check out this guy on Tumblr and co-host. And we are a part of the Noisepace.xyz podcast network. Thank you, Matt. Thank you.
I'm also on project.drazzle.online with the username Emery Day. Come get your ass kicked, or kick my ass. I don't know. I haven't been playing the Digimon TCG for too long, but I don't know. I'm having a nice time with it.
Oh, okay. So the audience knows that's an online simulator for the Digimon TCG.
Okay.
I'm on it.
Not licensed by Bandai.
No.
All right.
No, so keep it on the DL, and I'm on there too as Izzy Cristobal.
Honestly, if you wanna come fight me, just DM me on Discord. I've got a Renamon deck, a Bloomlord deck, and the newest edition, a Gammamon deck. Shout out to Digimon Ghost Gaze, my old podcast.
Yeah. He's Gamamon.
Scamamon. Alright, let's finally wrap this thing up. That's enough plugs. We've done plenty today.
Yeah, yeah, go spay and neuter your cat people.
So true. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.